Yo, what is up, guys? So I got something pretty cheesy for you guys. It's a Zoodiac hand loop that works in 2018 where you're going to get rid of all of your opponent's cards out of their hand. They do, however, get some tokens, which sometimes could hurt you. It depends what you're playing against. But you guys will see over here, we're utilizing two different cards over here. Black Garden as well as Summoning Curse. So every time you're just stacking more exceeds on top of the Zoodiac monster, your opponent actually gets a token. And because they summon a token via the effect of Black Garden, which is going to have 800, they're going to actually have to go -1. Now, obviously he's going to draw into one card, but that's all he's got. He has his ability here to synchro up. Most decks won't even play Black Rose Dragon, but even if they happen to have one, you guys will see where it doesn't really matter. Just because Zoodiacs, I mean, they are definitely one of the best decks, I would say, the top deck out of. Because, well, I mean, every card equals just another Exceed monster, basically. And there's another cheesy card in the deck, as if this little combo here wasn't that cheesy already. Now, I would say it's probably still an okay deck, even if you don't pull it off, because at the end of the day, Zoodiacs, they still can definitely put up a decent fight. I know that they're not as good as before, of course, with some of their cards hit via the ban list, but they can still put up a decent little fight over here. You guys can see, the guy's basically top decking, and this deck can deplete another deck's resources, especially if Dryden ever comes off of the ban list. This could be pretty nasty to run into. But again, it depends what deck you're playing up against. Like, obviously, if they have Proxy Dragon as a stepping stone, they can go into other things from their extra deck. But even if they just end with like a Boreal Load or something like that, that's all they would have. They would just have that one thing. This guy goes ahead and makes Invoker, goes for Thousand Blade, goes for a Soul Day, adds a Block Loss of Soldier, and then he's going to go ahead and send one Equip Spell. But unfortunately here, I guess he just didn't have the options to go for BLS, so he's just like, okay, I gamed myself. He kind of messed up right there, I think, with maybe the Black Luster Soldier. Maybe it was his only target, but nonetheless, I got another duel over here courtesy of Phaser. Shoutouts to you, man. You built a pretty interesting deck. I would say it's basically like a 2-card combo. It's basically Black Garden and Summoning Curse, and then any Zoodiac monster. So I won't really count that, because in a Zoodiac deck, it's pretty easy. Or I guess if you have Barrage, it's like the same thing. But anyways, so you can actually do a little bit more with this, and this duel is a better example of like a grind game where the opponent is kind of able to kind of come back from it. So what's cool with Barrage is, well, at any moment you can just turn off Black Garden, and it's kind of like you get to set the pace of the game, especially if you go first. As you guys are going to see, once again, the opponent is going to lose out on everything. He loses all of his cards. He ends up having to attack them, and then before he can really do anything, he's got to go to main phase 2 because we can't utilize these. Again, in a Cyber Dragon deck, you're not going to have access to utilizing some of these tokens. And a lot of decks will have a lot of problems with Black Garden in general, because this card is going to have 1200 times the number of materials. It's going to have 2 materials, so it's going to have 2400 attack, but it's reduced by half. But again, with all of the tokens here, he can't utilize these tokens, and the Zoodiac player gets to set the pace of the game and basically just keep on attaching materials. And like I said, there's another cheesy card in here. Plus, there are potential, like there is technically like a win condition in Zoodiacs already, built in with, of course, the Bow. You need 12 or more materials, alright? A little bit hard. And then you can send as many cards as possible from your opponent's hand and field to the graveyard, and then change this to defense position. A very rare effect that you'll be able to pull off, but that's basically like a win condition on its own. Plus, you know, Ram has pretty good stats as well. You know, just the 2,000 defense points. But again, he can turn this off whenever he has a Barrage. And then we're going to see him just attach more things with Tiger Mortar, then go ahead and go for the Shock-9 and just free cards, man. That's what Zoodiacs are all about. And you know, I was also thinking it might have been like a cool like tech here to just like throw in Cephalon, just because you're gonna have a lot of monsters. Although early game maybe it wouldn't be so great, but if you top deck Cephalon, just some with 4K beater, that's pretty good. But ends up making the Cliffworth Genius, and he just has too many monsters really for him to deal with. And again, everything that he summons because of Black Garden is going to be half on the stats. We see Monster Reborn, Cyber Dragon Summon. Once again, Black Garden going to be halving it, but he's going to go straight into Decode Talker. Decode Talker, only 1400. It's just not strong enough. He starts crashing some of the tokens just so he can free up some space. There's that Barrage I was talking about. So basically, he gets to get rid of that during his turn, and then he gets to go completely off because Black Garden is a little longer there. He's going to go ahead and make Utopia and do a bunch of damage to his opponent, and Morbo is going to actually hit him for 4,000. really, really dirty stuff over here because it also has that effect where is it? This card can attack your opponent directly. So that's really dirty because, again, it goes back to the same thing I was talking about. I mentioned it several times. You get to set the pace of your own game, and then finally, when you get rid of Black Garden or you just want to go Borbo and just smack him directly, you can do that. So, again, it's a cheesy deck at the end of the day, but I haven't seen anyone talk about Zoodiacs, and it's kind of interesting to see someone making a very, very dirty deck, like hand looping all of your opponent's cards with a relatively easy combo. Again, it's just 2 cards pretty much. For those of you guys that do want the deck profile, let's go ahead and go over the deck profile. But shoutouts again to Phaser for building this really cool deck. Again, I haven't seen anyone play Zoodiacs or any variant of it. If you guys got any other really cool ideas for Zoodiacs, I would love to see them if you want to send them in to AzneyesReplays@gmail.com. I think there might be some ways we can try to make the deck more viable, but I feel like on the ban list, maybe if they get, I mean, the Zoodiac archetype got hit pretty hard via the list. I mean, we got Rat Pierre, which it's at 1, and what's the point of 1 Rat Pierre? It's pretty much just gone. And then there's of course, Dryden and then Broad Bull. I mean, the deck got hit pretty hard, but Barrage is still at 3, and that's an insane deck, or it's insane card to top deck, especially when your opponent has no cards, and like I said, you get to set the pace of the duel. Again, keep in mind, most the Link monsters in decks, they require you to have like non-tokens, or it'll require like a very specific thing, but if they don't have it, which Cyber Dragons probably won't have it, about like half the time, if you pull that off, you've just won the game if your opponent starts out with 0 cards. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we've got pretty much just multiple copies of each of the Zoodiac. We got 3 copies of Zoodiac Thoroughblade, and then we have 3 copies of Whiptail. This card is really dirty. If this card battles an opponent's monster, you add for damage, you're going to banish that monster. Then we got 3 copies of Cattle Roost. And then we have 3 copies of Bunny Blast. And we have 3 copies of the Zoodiac Ram Ram. I actually really like this card because whenever it's destroyed by battle or by card effect, you get to target a Zoodiac monster in your graveyard except for itself and special summon it, and then it gets that like bonus effect like pretty much all the Zoodiacs do. But like the fact that you just get a 2000 defender, especially again, keep in mind Black Garnet is going to be reducing everything by half, so that means they would have to summon a monster with over 4000 attack to even deal with Ram Ram, unless of course they're getting rid of Black Garden first before they're making their plays. But remember guys, if they have 0 cards in their hand, they would need 1 card that has over 4000 attack. Over. Not even the Malefics could do that. And again, if they're top decking 1 card, they're not going to be able to throw the field spell and the Malefic down. But I guess technically Black Garden would be there as the field spell. But for the most part, that's not even that relevant. Because again, even if you summon a Malefic with 4000, it's going to be 2000. So this card, I think, works really well in the deck. And then, of course, the only one, a Rat Pierre. Very good card, though. Next up, we have a Regeki, Upstart Goblin. 3 copies of Terraforming for some extra consistency. We got the Foolish Burial, 2 copies of Hand Destruction. I'm not sure how I honestly feel about this card. I honestly, Magical Mallet is just a much better option. The reason why, and I've actually talked about this, and even in the OCG they've been doing this too in some decks, where they run Mallet, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Has gotten to the point where like, some cards you don't even need to draw, and some cards you don't want to draw, like for example, if you're running the like Gem Knight engine in a lot of different decks. But also, you don't want your opponent to be able to throw cards in their graveyard, because a lot of cards can get bonus effects, or you're letting your opponent cycle through certain cards that they don't want. Yeah, technically you might be able to loop them, but I still think that Magical Mallet in this variant would be good, because you're going to lose all your cards anyways via Summoning Curse. Yeah, your opponent's going to be losing all of theirs too, and you're going to still be at an advantage, but I think Magical Mallet would be a little bit better in this scenario. That's my personal take on it, but again, you don't want your opponent cycling through cards, and like I said, there's another cheesy card here, which I haven't actually talked about yet, but I'll get to it. But like, the main combo is just these 2, and then any Zoodiac, and then you just start stacking cards, and then your opponent just starts going really minus, and then you just hand loop them. And make it so they start out with 0 cards. Then we got, of course, 3 copies of Barrage, 3 copies of Tangata Search Out, of course. This is basically like another monster in the deck. And then keep in mind, you can set some of your cards so you don't lose out to Summoning Curse. But of course, next up, we got 3 copies of Summoning Curse, what makes the loop possible. 2 copies of Stoke Challenge. This card is really cheesy in Zoodiac. So this is like another win condition in the deck. So you can only control 1 Stoic Challenge, but you equip it to a face-up monster that has material. It gains 600 attack for each material attached to it, and 80 battle damage your opponent takes from battles involving it, and the monster is doubled, but its effects cannot be activated. That's fine, don't worry about it. During your opponent's end phase, send this card to the graveyard. When this card leaves the field, destroy the equipped monster. So pretty much, what this allows you guys to do is, if you stack up a bunch of cards on your Zoodiac, your opponent's going to have obviously a token, and if the token is still like an attack position, a lot of times there will be, because they're trying to get rid of certain things. Equipped to this, double the battle damage. This is a really dirty card in this variant. And then next up we have, of course, 3 copies of Black Garden, and then we have 2 copies of Zoodiac Gathering. I mean, if you want to, you can place another, replace this with something else, but target a Zoodiac monster, you control and attach a Zoodiac monster from your deck with it as material. During either player's turn, this card was sent to the graveyard, except for the turn it was sent to the graveyard. You banish it, target 5, and then you get to put back 5 Zoodiacs and draw 1 card. It's like a little like Pot of Avarice kind of. For the extra deck, we got 3 copies of Tiger Mortar, 2 copies of Hammer Kong, 2 copies of Sharknine, 3 copies of Borbo, then we have Saryuja, Agashik Magician, Security Dragon, and Link Haribo. Although we didn't really bust into the extra deck at all because, well, I feel like you don't really need it, but in the off chance that you can use it, why not, right? But anyways, that is the hand looping 2018 Zoodiac loop deck. Let me know, guys, what you thought of it. I think it's kind of interesting. Again, I just wanted to see something a little bit different, and I think it's a dirty combo if you go first, like, for sure. Very, very nasty to run into. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the vid. If you did, go ahead and drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profiles and Yu-Gi-Oh! Content. And I'm signing out.